thing. If someone who drinks a lot of coffee,
probably
will not probably have ADHD, but it's like a coping way, like a coping mechanism for ADHD. Because the medication's a stimulant.
I want to say Rohypnol, but it's definitely not Rohypnol.
No, it's definitely not Rohypnol. Ritalin. So there's like 3 main ones. There's what am I on? Elvance, which is basically Vyvanse in America. A lot of people don't know what Elvance is, but it's, same. Ritalin, but that's normally for like children.
What Ritalin is?
Yeah, because I think it's just like a bit of a, I don't actually know. It's like not. It doesn't last as long. And then there's another one, not sertraline, because that's a antidepressant.
Oh yes.
I can't remember the other one, but there's something beginning with C. But so there was like, so I've started on Elvance, but
Cerazette. No, that's a pill. Isn't it?
That's a mini pill. That's why I used to be on that.
Yeah, I think I tried Cerazette for a while. I've actually come off all of those at the moment. I'm doing that natural cycles thing.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like I was just putting too much into my body. It was
that's how I felt. And then I'm like taking this medication every day, taking these other like supplements. Well, I suppose supplements aren't so bad.
No, I tried to take supplements.
But I want to come off the pill. But then I'm like, that will probably, while I'm trying to, it's called titration, where you're trying to work out your dose on medication.
Oh, okay.
So whilst I'm on titration, I don't want to not be on.
With anything. Yeah,
but I will genuinely how come off of it. But how are you finding that that natural cycle thing?
You know, I love it. I love it so much because it does make me just feel more in tune with myself and my body. Like, because as well, you know what? For a long time, I didn't actually really get into my feminine energy. I grew up with 4 brothers, so for the longest time...
I've got 2 older brothers.
Yeah, I just thought I was a guy.
Yeah.
I just thought I was a boy, so I didn't really pay attention to my body. But as I got older, I then started to actually become more in tune with it. And now it's really weird because actually my periods really hurt now. They never used to hurt. And now I've been paying attention to it. They actually really hurt.
Oh, no.
But it really helps me get in tune with it. And also, like, I don't know, like, because obviously different phases and different cycles, you're needing different things.
Yeah, like, I realised probably when I had my period, I only had like 2 actual weeks where I actually felt okay of the month. Yeah, because then like the week of, you'd obviously be feeling a bit like crap because you'll be like bleeding. But then the week before, I used to have such bad PMS, like, and it was just, it was horrible. So that's what I'm worried about if I do come off the pill again, that I have to deal with that, because I don't have a period at all.
Do you not?
No.
See, I can't, that makes me feel unnatural.
Yeah, that's what I do feel like.
It makes me feel clogged up, and I think like what you were saying about, like, you know, before you get really bad PMS and whatever, like, I think for me, that's what I'm trying to get to know, because I do think that I must have some kind of ADHD with the way my brain works. Like, I swear down, but like, until I know my body well enough, I feel like I can't really like go into it, because I feel like there's probably more holistic and natural things that I could be doing to help it personally. I'm just so oblivious.
There's also loads of natural supplements that you can take to actually support ADHD.
Oh, is there?
So there's lion's mane, which is like a mushroom extract, which actually I've just started taking that as well, because you can take it along with the actual medication. And there's a few other things, I can't remember off the top of my head what they are, but there's like 3 main ones, but they basically help with like brain function, focus and things like that. So it's probably worth like having a go with those and seeing how you feel. Also, like if you're on your period, if you've got PMS, the medication that I'm on, the Elvance, doesn't even actually work.
Oh, really?
Or you're meant to like increase the dose slightly, because when I had the call with my doctor yesterday, and I told her that the medication just wasn't working over the last weekend. She said, are you due on? And like, are you hormonal? And I said, I don't know, because I don't have a period. And she was like, it could be that. Or like, I think if you are just genuinely a bit run down, it just doesn't have as much effect. But
so how are you finding the medication? Like, what is it like in terms of like before you started taking it and now? Like, have you noticed the difference? What have been the improvements? What are the main things you've noticed?
I think like, because also it's kind of difficult where I've been on it for like maybe like 5-6 weeks now, I tend to forget what I was like before. And then when it wasn't really working last week, I was like, oh my God, is this literally how I felt all the time?
This is what I was like.
I was like, Jesus, I don't know how I used to even deal with that. Like, it was awful. But I think like I like people like to seem to describe it because it's really hard to describe, but I feel like I had chronic overwhelm like all the time. Like especially like living on my own, I'd find like daily simple tasks like really overwhelming. Like I'm very clean and tidy, but then like it just would get to a point where like if I'd had a long day at work where I'm having to focus, and because it takes so much of my energy to actually focus at work or in meetings and stuff, I'd like get home and I'd have to like do the bins and I'd probably like cry because I'd have to do the bins. And it's like, now I can just literally just do that. And I've never been so productive or like mentally motivated in my life.
Freaking hell.
Yeah.
What that actual. And so what is it that you're on?
Elvance. So I'm on 50 milligrams at the moment. But yeah, I'm going up to 70 because I feel like the effects aren't as good as they were at the beginning, so I feel like my body's kind of got used to it a bit.
Yeah, the tolerance.
But yeah, like it has been life-changing. Like the amount I can do now and not feel overwhelmed is just crazy.
And what's the would you say your relationship with your ADHD and your anxiety has been, especially since coming on to the tablets as well?
So I think like before, because like in women and men, ADHD is so different. So like because there's three different like categories of ADHD. So it's like hyperactivity, impulsivity, and something else. Thing is, like the medication is meant to help with like forgetting things, but that part of that has not improved whatsoever. And it's probably been a million times in this. I'm going to be like,
fair, you were giving me so much information right now. I feel like I'm like sitting down watching a YouTube or something. It's brilliant. And it's such an interesting subject as well.
Yeah,
like, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that part has not improved. I forget things all the time. But yeah, like in women, so in men it shows up in sort of like hyperactivity, like physically. So like, well, there's like a different like spectrum basically. So a lot more people can be hyperactive like externally, like needing to be on the go all the time, needing to do something. But in women it can show up like internally, so like in your mind. So my mind just would never stop.
Oh my God.
And like I'd ruminate on things like forever. Like if I had like met out with someone, like even say chatting to you today, I wouldn't stop thinking about it for the rest of the day. Like, oh my God, what did I say? Like, did I blah, blah, blah. And it would just be like, go. And I'd be like, it would just be exhausting. And then that's what contributes to the anxiety.
Yeah, you know what? I think I could really relate to that because it'll be stupid little things. Like I would sit there and be like, I know Hannah's made these very lovely lattes.
Mine's decaf. You can't actually drink caffeine on these tablets.
Mine is not. But like you put vanilla in it and I would have sat there and been like, oh, did I put vanilla? Did I not? Should I? Like worrying about something stupid like that, or like if someone had asked me to do something, or like how I responded to it, being like, oh, what's this person thought of this and this?
Yeah,
like all these little
and that's what I've noticed. Like since I've been on this medication, not that I don't care as much, but it's like I'm just a lot more calm and my mind doesn't run away with me. So the anxiety came from like worrying and ruminating and like not being able to control those thoughts. Oh my God.
I can't even deal with thinking how different life could actually
be. Like when I first took the medication, I can't get over how different and calm everything went. It was like, that's one thing I've had to get used to because it's like, because it's so quiet in my mind now, I felt bored. I felt like, where's all the noise? Like it was honestly so hard to get used to.
I can imagine actually there's a certain kind of familiarity in that because you do just get used to it, don't
exactly.
you?
But yeah, now I feel like I'm getting used to it, like just having more calm and not having so much going on in my brain. It's really nice. And then my anxiety's just gone as well. So it definitely went hand in hand, that did.
That is so brilliant. Like, this is making me feel really happy and excited because it's just, for such a long time, I'd always sit here and ask myself, oh my God, is this normal? Am I normal? Is this like, do people have to go through this day by day? Because this stuff is hard.
It's so hard. And I think that's what people don't realise as well. Like people just have this like theory or like stereotype of ADHD people being like this little hyperactive child.
Yeah.
And it's not like, and it's so hard to deal with as you get older when you actually have real responsibilities, a job, like, and people just think you're like lazy and you can't cope. And it's just, it was debilitating. That's what added to the anxiety as well, because you just feel like incapable.
Yeah.
But now, like,
I know what you mean. And then you sit there and you think like, this should be really easy. Like you said about the bins, just got to take the bin. I had to sing to myself this morning to make myself eat, because it's just like little things like reminding yourself to eat, reminding yourself, like making your bed, getting dressed. Like, such silly little things.
It's like the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, and I always find, I don't know if this is related at all, but I would always find that my attention goes from like one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. And like actually completing tasks can be quite, it takes a lot of effort, or I have to be really like,
it does sound like you've got ADHD. I'm not gonna lie. That's literally what I was like. And now I can actually finish tasks.
Oh my God.
Like I was saying the other day, like
my life could be so different.
Like cleaning the flat, like I actually, like it's weird now how my brain works, because I'm just like, I can actually think of things before I do them. I'm not just running around and like getting distracted and doing it. I'm like, oh no, I'll do that later. I'll come back to it, and I'll do that when I get to it. Like
a bit more planning.
It's more planning. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I find
in work as well. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, because I'm very much like all like, oh, this thought comes into my head. Oh, I have to do that. But then that thought will relate to a different thought. And I'm like, oh, no, but that needs to get done. So then I'll switch over and go do that thing. Then I'm just like going around in a circle, chasing my tail, really.
Yeah. Would you ever get diagnosed, or would you?
Well, I started to get diagnosed.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't finish it.
Oh, that's typical ADHD.
Yeah, so I'll pick it back up.
Yeah.
I think I definitely will, but I'll try this lion's bane thing that you're talking about, but part of me just really wants to just like, it's just really terrible.
I'll find the TikTok where it had all the supplements on it, and I'll send it to you so you can use it.
So
but yeah,
brilliant.
I've only tried the lion's mane. But yeah, you should definitely give it a go.
Yeah, I think so, because for me as well, like you were saying about the familiarity, like I even found this in terms of like dysfunction and growing up with trauma, etc. Like I got used to it. I got comfortable with it. And I felt like without it, it was a bit like, well, who am I?
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
I felt like it was taking away me. But what I'm starting to realise is that actually I'm trying to create this blank canvas and start again with who I want to be, not who I've been told I am.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think that's been the massive thing for me since being on this medication. I now look at my life before I was taking it, and I was like, I realised now all the things I was doing was like coping mechanisms, and like I didn't need to do that. And I feel like if I'd taken it or found out earlier instead of like literally 2 months ago, I would have, it's sad because I'm like, I could have just achieved so much more. Like, you know, I wouldn't have lost friends.
Back again. So you were just saying about losing friends and everything because of how it should have been. Which I think, as I was saying, like, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think from that, you're probably going to be propelling yourself so much further forward.
Yeah.
As a result.
Yeah, because I'm not going to lie, the friends that I'm thinking about off the top of my head, like, were the ones that I used to go out with all the time. And, like, that's all they did. Like, they were like my drinking buddies, basically.
Yeah.
And, like, for a long time, I was like, I kind of want to step away from it because every time I do go out with them, it's just drinking. And then also when I drank, I think my impulsiveness, like, came out a lot more, and, like, I wouldn't know when to stop drinking. And so I was probably just a bit, like, too much, as they would say, like, to go out with. So, like, they just, like, ghosted me, like, completely just ghosted me. But, like, now I look back on it and I'm like, well, they wouldn't fit into my life now anyway. So yeah. And
sometimes I think we need these big like events to wake us up, because we get into these little cycles in life, don't we? Like, and you're talking about the drinking. Like, for me, that was how I dealt with life and things. Like,
so you don't do that now?
No, I don't, because, like, don't get me wrong, like, sometimes if I'm going out for a meal, I will have maybe an odd glass of wine, but that is genuinely because I like to be a connoisseur of wine.
Yeah, and wine's nice.
Yeah, but, like, I don't go out binging. Like, if I go out drinking, what I do like to do is I like to put water in a wine glass. It just makes me feel really good. I don't know nice. Why. And then also, we've got some of these.
Oh, yeah, I love them.
Which are really, I've had a couple. I'm not gonna lie, when I first tried them, I wasn't too keen on the flavours, but
this one's my favourite. Is it this the minty one?
This one's elderflower and mint. Yeah, this one's nicer. The basil one I didn't like too much.
No, this one's the peach ginger. That's my favourite one.
But afterwards, I did get a bit used to it, and it was really nice because these trip drinks, they've got CBD in, and CBD is very good for anxiety. Shout out to CBD Mountain as well. So this kind of stuff, or even like sparkling water. I just want people to be nice to people and be kind, and I get that it's hard sometimes because the state of the world is pretty dire, and it is hard, but I kind of feel like with this podcast, hopefully we can spread a little bit of joy and happiness. Take it.
It's good. But I also think like people are just shit because of what they've got going on, like, and it's like they don't know how to like feel it and let it go, so they just take it out on people.
100%. Bottle it up and bitter it out.
Yeah, exactly. Like people are just projecting their own shit onto everyone all the time. So I feel like when you're in a good place, like you can actually tell when people are in a good place because their energy just like radiates. It's so good.
It really is. And we were saying earlier actually about like this kind of stuff, like instead of going out and drinking, which is something which I used to love because I was filling all these voids and making me have the illusion of happiness, actually to find real happiness. And I think real happiness for me, it is in giving back.
Was purpose, like, and have a purpose to give back, and and I actually think as well on that, because when I started, because I did that coaching thing as well, and so
life coach.
So I'm actually certified as a life coach. Haven't done anything with it, but so I learned loads about it because when I was in a really shit dark place, I was like, God, I want to learn more about myself. And then this life coaching course came up, and it sort of said you can use your own experiences on how you got from A to B to help other people. And I do genuinely think that when you start helping other people and, giving back, that you start receiving more and like more opportunities come. Like it's like 100%. That's how you manifest more stuff because you're giving out such a good vibe.
100%. And I think when you're doing that, like you're also being more authentic and true to yourself, which is going to bring the correct people into your life instead of like interpretation or perception of what you think you need, which I think a lot of social media puts out there at the moment. Like the images, it's all very biased to these perfect lives which don't exist.
Well, that's why I like TikTok as well, because Instagram is that like perfectionist, like very edited sort of app, whereas TikTok's not like that at all. Like if you put up like a picture like that you would put up on Instagram, it's not going to work on TikTok. Like it just wouldn't. And like the more like lo-fi, real, like chatting to the camera sort of content like does work because people feel like they know you. People like it's more like interactive. It's not as polished. Like, and that's what people want now. Like especially with like Gen Z, they're all about like inclusivity and like accepting people and like being real. And I think that's why TikTok has taken off so much.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Gen Z. So who is Gen Z?
So Gen Z, I think they start from like, so we're millennials.
You're saying we're like, what? I'm the same age as you.
How old are you?
I'm 33.
Yeah, you're a millennial, you're fine.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, you're a millennial, you're fine. But like Gen Z, I think from like 20, they're probably like 26, 27 now, down to like 13.
Okay.
So it's like all those teenagers at the moment. And like, hello. They're all like a lot more like clued up on like mental health. Like from when I was like their age, like no one knew about it at all. And they're more just like happy to just be themselves. And they don't want to see like, all these fake influencers and stuff on Instagram. But then
you know what I think, like, and I've not done any extensive research into this, but you know what I think? I think it can almost turn into a gimmick itself. Like, kind of like, oh, I'm being natural and I'm being cool. Like, I'm being authentic and natural, but then that becomes the gimmick. And like, so you do see some videos where it's like hello Luna, where some people will like kind of set the camera up and wake up in their bed. And
I know.
Like, I
do laugh at those actually because I got out of bed today. And then
you didn't. You just set up the camera.
Yeah, exactly. You probably put on a bit of makeup as well, and then got back into bed.
It's so true. That's kind of what I kind of want to do with this podcast. Really, I really want to try and break and shatter that illusion. To see like realistically what it's like we've been filming this podcast here, my camera's already turned off like 3 times, telling me my memory card's full.
I've forgotten what I'm saying about millions of times.
We've been sitting here getting all flustered and
that's
whatnot.
like, it makes you relax more, I feel, as well.
Yeah,
because it's, you know, it's no pressure.
It's so true, isn't it? Yeah, and like it's actually real instead of having to be something.
Yeah.
I've definitely experienced, and I'm sure so many people have out there, like trying to be somebody, to fit into a mold, to feel like you belong, or feel like you're connected, or to feel like you're somebody. And when actually everybody's just feeling exactly the same. So if we break that, hopefully it'll be like a domino effect.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they call like masking as well. It's like if you've got ADHD, because your brain does work differently, but you act differently to try and fit in with everyone else because you're masking your symptoms. So like, and that's what causes anxiety, because I mean, I had therapy, and when I had, he thought I had generalized anxiety disorder, and he was like, you're always trying to be this perfect person here, but you just need to accept who you are here. And I was like, oh, okay, but how do I do that? Okay, like I just don't understand. And now I'm realizing I've got ADHD, and I was like, oh, I get it.
So you're saying, how do I do that? So then did you find that then having the medication made it a lot easier for you to, did it just happen naturally, something that you didn't have to try to do?
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, I feel like I'm just like getting on with stuff now. Like nothing seems, like I feel like I was looking around at everyone else at handling stuff a lot better than how I had. And like, you know, like going out and being able to not get blackout drunk, and like being able to be like, I'm going to go home now, and I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? I don't get it. Or like just getting loads of stuff done at work, or like being able to talk up in meetings. Those are all things that I really struggled with, because I was so in my own head all the time, and you know, like feeling crap all the time. And so like now I don't feel like that, and I've got this medication to help me. Like I feel like I am sort of just getting on with life a little bit easier. Like
less pressure,
yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying, because I could often, like, I dip into it and I'll be in a state of mind and I'll be like, wow, this feels really easy. I feel quite mellow, I feel mindful, like I'm in the now, nothing else matters. Like, but it's very fleeting moments.
Yeah.
But I think I can see I know what you're saying.
I feel like as well, like, if you're if you have got like ADHD or like autism or anything like that, you really need to, I only found like I was actually in a good headspace when I really tried to do all those like activities that were like mindfulness, like, you know, going to sleep on time, making sure I was eating right. I had to really try to do those things. But obviously if you have ADHD, it's really hard to do those things anyway. Yeah. So like, but I always felt better when I did those. But then one thing actually I said in my assessments with my doctor when she was assessing me, I said I feel like I have to try so hard to feel peaceful and calm and like in a good place, where all my friends are just feeling that. And I was like, I don't get it. And then she was like, it shouldn't be that hard. Like she was like, you'll see on the medication that it's easy. And I was like, oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think on that, like firstly, I think, you know, we tend to look into other people's lives and think that they have everything together. And I think most of the time people don't.
No.
And then secondly, like, you're so right with the food. Like, this is what I'm massively noticing. Like, that was a coping mechanism for me, eating the sugar. That was like what was helping me, like, I don't know, get by or whatever. But I really noticed the difference in my body. Like, if I'm not eating healthy, I feel so lethargic. My mind doesn't work as well. Like, I get stuck in this monotonous, like, drone cycle of, like, nothingness. Like, it really makes such a difference. And like you say, the mindfulness as well, the meditation, exercising regularly. We need to be moving our bodies.
Definitely. Well, that's the thing, because obviously ADHD is... So what you're lacking in your brain is like the neurotransmitters in your brain can't pick up the dopamine. So you've got dopamine in your brain. It doesn't, like, the medication doesn't create the dopamine, but it helps the neurotransmitters work. So it can take the dopamine to where it needs to be. So these things like eating sweets, like binge eating even, like eating those fast foods that like create dopamine in your brain, or exercise.
Like dopamine, really?
But the thing is, it creates dopamine, then you crash. Yeah. So you'll have like a sugar high, and you'll feel really good, and then you'll crash. So that's like exercise. So I remember when I used to exercise, I'd feel such an incredible high after like going for a run, and then I'd but then I'd feel a bit crap in the afternoon. But like now, if I go to the gym, I don't get that high. I'm just like, I feel good, but it's not like, boo, like.
Yeah, because the way the way I see it in my head is, like you say, so all that sugar and all those other things, they create a really high, large, unnatural spike of dopamine.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're always living in this like top layer of stimulated place.
Yeah.
Then you have these massive crashes. So to feel better, you want to get back up to those really high, but it's unnatural. And really you want to be working in this zone here.
Yeah.
And that's like finding those, that I say natural dopamine, but I guess the more...
Yeah, which is sleep. Sleep's a huge one, like actually getting sleep and having a sleep routine, which I still haven't nailed actually, even on the medication. But
these things take time as well.
Yeah,
like,
but
so you will. I think as long as your head's in that space.
Yeah, I think like because work's just been crazy as well at the moment, so I'm just a bit like there's no routine really. But I think if I wasn't on this medication at the moment, I'd be struggling like really badly. But then also alcohol releases dopamine, so that's why like I've always had an issue with drinking, like ever, like since I was probably about 13 when I first started drinking, and then it got like a lot worse in my early 20s, and like I just got to a point where like it's not like I was drinking all the time, but I'd be a massive binge drinker. Like I would not know when to stop, and it was because I felt so good, and I was like, oh, like I feel really calm, my brain, like and stuff like that, and then I wouldn't want to not feel that, so I'd carry on drinking. Like
you're always chasing that high, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so true. But and then, like you say, like I think you do get, when you start lowering those levels of dopamine, and like social media again is another bad one. Sitting there and flicking, I'm terrible for it. If you start finding the dopamine in the more sensible places, like going to bed early, eating good healthy food, getting into a routine.
Yeah,
like,
going out for a walk, getting fresh air.
Yeah, like there is dopamine in those places, but we've been so trained and so conditioned to like go after that higher one, especially when out there in the world now, the media and everything that's been put out there, it's like there's so much pressure on like, oh, I need to be achieving this, I need to be doing this sort of thing, like I need to be feeling this happy all the time.
Exactly, yeah. Or when you see other people's highlights and you're like, oh, they look so happy.
Yeah, why aren't I this happy? I must be failing at life. Yeah. No, you are not failing at life, okay? No one is failing. Well, no, we're not failing at life. It's just getting back into those places. And I've started to see it now, like enjoying the small things, like going out and having a nice meal and having a glass of wine, but then coming back home and like self-care. Self-care is a brilliant one.
Huge one.
I had an incredible thought last night. I was like, okay, I'm doing a podcast with Hannah in the morning, gonna get on my self-care in. I was doing my self-care and it actually felt like I was getting a hug. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been really hug deprived at the moment, and it's really
do you want a hug? You can't go wrong with a hug.
You really can't. And I was like, so I've been feeling like, oh, I just need a bloody hug.
Yeah.
And I did my self-care. Yeah, I know, right? I did my self-care and I was like, wow, this actually feels like a little internal hug.
Yeah, because you're looking after yourself.
Yes,
and you're putting yourself first. I feel like, because I've actually got really into skincare in the last year. And like, I just love doing that like nighttime routine, and it sets you up for bed, and just like taking care of yourself is literally, like a hug. Or you can even just sit there and hug yourself.
Yeah.
Like some people think that's really cringe, but actually it does feel really nice.
Yeah, it does. I'm not gonna lie. So I hugged a tree not long ago.
Oh, I haven't done that.
It was actually.
What, did people see you?
No, I did it away from everyone. But you know what? I always saw things like online and stuff, and I think nature as well. Like something about nature is like getting in touch with nature. So I was like, you know what? Try it. You've got to try everything once. We can't sit here and make judgments on things that we don't know, especially if you haven't experienced them. Yeah. Especially with the amount of information that's put out there. Like we've got to learn to figure it out for ourselves and do our own research and know our own truths.
Yeah, that is why I'm looking forward to it being more sunny though, because it's so cold out at the moment that I'm just like, I want to just get outside more, but it's just annoying me.
And I can't.
I just want to go around and hug all the trees in the park. But yeah, walking and like getting outside is like such a massive one, because I think as well, like before I started having this medication, I made sure that I went out on a walk every single day because it made me feel good. And like, not that now I don't like like going for a walk, but I don't feel like I need to as much, because I actually think, like, I remember during lockdown, which obviously everyone was struggling, but I feel like I got so like hung up on these like things that made me feel good. Like I was like, it was actually beginning to make me stressful, like going for a walk, doing gratitude, like doing affirmations in the morning. I had such a set routine, and I'd make myself feel so guilty if I didn't do it. So it can go the other way, because really you just need compassion for yourself and let yourself feel like, or do what you want to actually do in some days. But yeah.
Sorry, were you going to say something?
Well, because now I feel like on this medication, it does give me the motivation to do those things. But if I don't want to go for a walk, or if I feel like I want to go for a walk, I'll just do it. But I don't always feel like I need to, because I feel good anyway. And also, like, if I don't want to go, I won't be like, oh, you're a really bad person.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't gone out today.
I've found I've been in this exact same boat, actually. I would be like, okay, I need to feel better. I need to, like, be winning at life. So do this, do this, do this. But life isn't like that. Life isn't like that. Like, you have to learn to adapt and pivot and, you know, go with the flow of it. Be like water, be like the wind. And I think to do that, you need to just do it when you can and where you can. And then what you'll find is the consistency of that will start changing your natural habits in your mind. So then you naturally think to do it instead of it having to be a chore. And I think also working on that internal work, like for me, I found actually really trying to love myself, because before that it was like, well, I'm gonna eat this crap, I'm gonna do this, because really I'm self-sabotaging and I hate myself.
And you're looking for those quick highs.
And you're looking for those quick highs to, like, pretend that you don't for a moment.
Exactly.
So when, like, doing that real work inside, and like you say, the self-compassion, you really just got to learn to kind of, like, we would be so forgiving to our friends and everyone around us. But then when it comes to us, it's like we just throw ourselves right under a bus.
It's like my therapist always said to me, he was like, would you speak to your friend like that? And I was like, no. And he was like, why did you speak to yourself like that? I'm like, I don't know. But like, I think compassion is a massive one. And that goes hand in hand with self-love. Like, if you're just feeling a bit crap and you want to lie in bed all day, just do it. And then the next day you'll feel better and you can go and do all those things that, you know, you feel like you should do. But like, just don't, if you're feeling crap anyway, why do you kick yourself? Why do you make yourself feel worse? There's just no point. Or like, why do you go and drink loads, which is going to give you a hangover the next day?
Exactly.
Like, it's literally no point.
Exactly. It's definitely a dead end, but it is, like, it's our culture. It really is our culture. Like, so it is quite a difficult one to get out of, I think. And I think even to be aware, I think so many people, like, go through life just doing stuff and not really understanding the effects that actually has on them. Because people get from A to B and they're like, how did I get here? And then, like, it does take awareness, because then you can stop the self-sabotaging habits, because you're, like, aware of your patterns and your habits, and then you can literally be like, oh, I know why I'm doing that, I'm not going to do it. And it's like listening to that other part of your brain that's like, no, you don't need to do that, instead of the one going, let's go and eat, and like unhealthy food and stuff like that. But it's crazy, isn't it? Because also I think, like, a massive thing with that is, like, the instant gratification thing. Like, people feel crap and they don't want to, like, then work out why they feel that way or get to the root of it. They're like, how can I make this feeling go away? It's scary.
And then they, like, resist the feeling, because it's all about, like, obviously I'm really into energy and things like that as well. And I feel like, obviously, bad feelings and emotions are just energy, and they need to, like, flow through you. So, like, if you're, like, basically putting a plug on it and being like, I'm going to go make myself feel really good in, like, a self-sabotage way, you're not actually going to feel those bad feelings, and you're going to push them down, and they're going to come back up.
And I always find they come up in the most inconvenient ways as well. Which just cycles into more regret and, like, self-hatred. So this whole thing is like, be aware, feel the feelings. They're not going to be there forever, but just feel them, and so the energy can just go and be released. And I really find that visualization really helps. Like, actually visualizing it and being it. Like, I remember thinking about mindfulness. They said about your thoughts are just like staring at a motorway and watching the cars go by. And normally with those kind of thoughts, I would, like, take the car and I'd hold the car and I'd inspect the car and look at it, instead of just being like, this is a thought, it's not who I am, just let it pass. Or even just not even real. Like, I remember when I first ever went to therapy, and he was like, you don't have to believe your thoughts. And I was like,
really? And I was like, oh. And then I was like, I just believed everything my mind told me. And it was a completely like light bulb moment. And I was like, then I could sort of work on actually choosing what I wanted to listen to and what I wanted to believe. And all overriding thoughts as well. Like being like, if I was being down on myself, being like, no, don't think that, I actually think this. And yeah, I just, that massively helped for me.
That is really good. I've never heard it explained like that, actually. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's going to, what for me will tie into that is actually self-confidence as well. Because I think it's very easy to look at yourself in a negative way and go down to that way, but actually having the confidence and belief in that you do deserve better.
Yeah. And like have this, it's self-worth, like as well. Because like I feel like if you are, like back then, I've always really struggled with self-worth, and that obviously had a direct impact on my confidence. And like that does take a lot of work to work on your self-worth. But I feel like once that sort of has a domino effect on everything in your life. Like once you have self-worth, you can literally, you know, think better things for one. But you need to make a conscious effort in the beginning to think the better things in order to build the self-worth and build the self-trust and not put yourself down. But then you'll start going after the things that you want, because you're like, actually, no, I'm worthy of that.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, going after the job, or being more confident at work, or anything like that.
It just makes me so happy, because, you know, it's just so crazy how life can actually just be really fucking good.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be how it feels sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think when you get into this space, into this higher energy... Yeah, which one would you like?
Do you want this one?
You have whichever one you want.
I'll have this one.
When you get into this energy in this higher space, like, it's... Honestly, it just feels like you can achieve anything.
Yeah.
The world literally is your oyster. And I'm just so excited for the future, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't all the time, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I sit there and feel really terrible. But, like, in these moments, I think you really have to celebrate the small wins and these moments. And right now, I sit here and think, look how far I have come.
Yes.
So look how far I can go.
Exactly, yeah.
Like same for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, back then, well, even when I look at my life 3-5 years ago, even a year ago, like, yes, it had got progressively better, but the person I was like 5 years ago, like, I do not actually recognise. Like, I had zero self-worth. I was going out every weekend, boozing. I literally did not care about anything about myself. I'd put everyone before me. I was just like not a very nice person either. Like, I was just angry, hurt, taking it out on people. And like, when I do look back at that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's crazy. But it's just, it takes work.
That is the hard pill to swallow as well. I've been finding this one recently, like taking a look at my behaviour and how my bitterness has affected other people. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, like, it's really like, but you have to learn to not beat yourself up about it, because otherwise you just get in a cycle, and at the end of the day, everyone does it.
Yes, and everyone's got their flaws, and that's what everyone's got to remember. Like, nobody is perfect. Like, everyone's going to have things that they're not happy about, and or like situations that they're not happy that they've handled in a certain way, and things like that.
Which is why I just think we should all just try be kind to everyone. Like, and instead of like not holding grudges, just kind of like being, letting life happen, and just going.
And people just grow up. Like, people just learn a lot more. And like, I also think that this whole like self-development journey that
why are you air quoting it?
I don't like the word journey, but like but this self-development, like, you know, experience it never stops, like, ever. Like, there's always going to be things in your life that you're going to have to learn more. You're not going to handle it. You're still not going to handle everything perfectly. Like, you're never going to get to that point. Because that's what I realised. Like, when I first started doing all this work, I was like, I just can't wait to be, like, perfect.
At the end.
And, like, at the end. And, like, I'm still learning so much now. Like, I'm a much better person. But I'm not like, you know, healed.
Yeah, because there's no completion to it. There's no end.
Not. Yeah.
And this is why they say, like, you need to learn to love the journey.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You need to learn to love the journey and let go of the outcome.
Yeah.
Because it's in the journey. That's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
That's the real
And that's
stuff.
why, like, obviously you doing this podcast is so good because you're not worried about the outcome. Like, you just need to do it and then see where it goes. And that's where you actually get probably a lot more back because you're just having fun with it, and that's going to show.
Yeah,
we're just having fun.
And don't get me wrong as well. Like, I've been really, really scared about doing this podcast. So I don't want you guys to sit here and look and be like, oh, look, she's done it. She's so brave. She's done it. No, I've been scared and I've been sitting here and fearing these things.
Yeah.
And things have been going really wrong for me. But what I've been realising is I'm only going to learn through experiencing.
Yeah.
I have to actually action it, and then it's going to start developing, and not worry so much about it being perfect from the off.
Because I think as well, like, people are so scared of failing.
Yes.
But, like, failing, it doesn't exist in, like, because you learn from it. And, like, people just fail and then they just give up. But it's like, I've done it, like, and then I kind of wish, God, I wish I just carried on because I could have got better.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, like I was saying earlier, I wanted to start a podcast. Now you've made me, like, get in the mood for it. Because I was really nervous for today, but, like, I feel like I've just sort of gone off on tangent and rambling on now.
Yeah, I think you're
good.
natural. I think you definitely should start your podcast, and I'd definitely love to be able to help you with that as well.
Be my guest on mine.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, it is good, it just feels fantastic as well. Like, you know, I heard a quote the other day, and it said something along the lines that, you know, regret weighs like, I don't know my metrics or my weights, but regret weighs like stones, and discipline weighs like pounds.
Yeah.
So you should really just deal with that little bit of discipline to be doing the things that you want to do to avoid that really heavy weight of regret, which you will feel, because down the line, I know I'm constantly sitting here, like, I get so caught up on my age, and I'll sit here and be like, oh, if I had started then, where would I be now?
Yeah.
But I constantly get stuck in that cycle.
Yeah.
So just action it. Just start now.
Well, do you know what? Because my nan is turning 99 in June, and she's amazing. Like, she still lives on her own. Like, she's still very independent. Like, she's so stubborn. She's fiercely independent. And then, like, sometimes I'm like you. Like, I feel like, oh, you know, time's running out almost, and like But she is always saying to me, like, when you get married, blah, blah. I'm like, not yet. Like, I've got other things I want to do. But anyway, and yeah, like, I feel like looking at her, because she always goes, you're so young. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I am. Like, I'm so young. Like, and I live, like, I've got another, how many years is that? 70 years. Trying to do the math.
How long will I live?
If I live to 99, then that's 70 years I've still got left. So it's like,
loads of time, there is. But I know what you mean with this whole pressure of, like, marriage and being this female and having kids and everything, because that is the natural progression. And I think your body, like, I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes my ovaries just tingle. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, children. Yeah. But, like, for me, it's really not something, it's something that I've tried to let go of. It's been hard and I'm not completely there, but whatever happens for me is going to happen, because what's important is that I'm living my life for me right now. Yeah. And I'm really enjoying this journey. Kids are hard work.
Yeah. Man. See, I didn't even think I really wanted kids, to be honest. I always thought I did. And then over, like, the last maybe 5 years, I thought, I don't know if I do. And, like, I would love to, but I'm just not ready. Like, I don't know when I'll be ready. And that's the problem, because I don't want to just have them because we're women and we've got a biological clock. Yeah.
Or because it fills some kind of void, because I feel like back in the day, that's why I would have probably had a child. Oh, okay. Because I would have been like, oh, this child with me, love.
Yeah, unconditional love. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I just don't think I'm ready at all. Like, there's so many other things that I want to do with my life, like, and I also couldn't raise kids in a one-bed flat, so so I want to, like, get myself into a good position. And, like, if that's too late, then that's too late, and it wasn't meant to be. But I'm not gonna. And
then also, we do forget that there's other things. There's, like, IVF. There's adoption.
Yeah, exactly.
Think of the amount of children out there who actually probably don't have parents and whatnot. Like, and even just, like, in terms of this, like, we're parents of the world.
What do you mean?
Like, parents, if you think about parents and what they do, they like help little people grow. Yes. Into becoming bigger, better people. Yes. So, like, we're putting out information to help people grow. Like, and I think I often go, even just around people, I often go into my maternal instincts. Yeah. So it's not like you don't ever slip into that role of being that person.
Exactly. I've got like nieces and nephews who I absolutely adore, and like that is definitely enough for me at the moment. But I think as well, like with the maternal thing, because like in relationships as well, like, I feel like that can really have an impact, because like you do tend to go into this, like, well, I do anyway, tend to go into this role where you like look after someone, and like I don't know if I'm that maternal, but then also like even with Luna, like I'm so maternal with her, like she is my baby at the moment, like that's absolutely fine with me.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting as well, because I think I often will go into relationships with guys and then go into this mothering role.
Yeah.
But I think it's really like undermining to like the man in a way. I don't know, I haven't really fully thought this through, but like why first, and to us, because firstly, why am I, you're not my child, I don't need to be looking after you and mothering you, like you were quite capable of doing that yourselves. But I do think like as personally for me, like I would step into that role. No, it stops, but now it is. Yeah, like the dynamics, if you're mothering your man, then like it's gonna change that.
And also it's not attractive.
No, it isn't. And then you're gonna sit there and start being like, oh no, you can't go out, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like for me, that's not like a healthy
I think
dynamic
that's more like
relation.
control.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, but then I do know what you mean, because then like I think generally guys like would like to be mothered to a degree, like if they like food cooked for them and stuff like that and whatnot. Like I guess you could say that's like mothering or it's wifing.
Yeah, it is a really tricky one. I don't think I've ever been like in a relationship where I've had to actually properly mother someone, to be honest. But like I do like cooking for people.
Yeah,
but like I wouldn't, make someone's lunches or like, unless I was getting it in return. Like I feel like it needs to be an equal thing. But yeah, I do sometimes see like.
When you say getting it in return, what would that look like to you?
I guess like sort of helping out. Like it's like you're like a team, right?
Yeah.
So like if I'm gonna make you lunches, like you can clean or something. I don't know, like that sort of thing. Instead of just expecting me to do everything. Because I have seen in some like relationships where like the woman seems to be the one that's running around, like, looking after the kids, like helping, like doing all the cooking, doing all the washing, like doing everything whilst having a job, and then the guy just works. And I just feel like, I don't like that.
What if it was like he wasn't working, for example? Then would you feel differently about that?
If the woman wasn't working?
Yeah.
What, and looking after the kids all day?
Yeah.
I still think like, because I think I don't have kids. I mean, it's really hard for me to comment really, but like, I do sometimes think that people think that staying at home with the kids all day is like easy, and it's not. Like, well, I don't think it is. I've never done it, but like, I do think it's quite hard for women to now have that pressure to, keep a really tidy home whilst looking after the kids all day when you've got to be watching the kids,
So, this makes me actually think about Andrew Tate quite a lot and his views and everything. And, I have actually come to think that, men and women are actually different, and we do have different roles. And,
Unless as well, like, I'm speaking for myself, but like, unless you want to do that, like, unless you are someone who genuinely wants to be that stay-at-home mum and do all the cleaning and the cooking and everything, and provide and.
But do you not feel like and this is just my opinion, but do you not feel that like, well, women are wired in a certain way in comparison to men? Like men, let's go out, war, fight, provide. Women are nurturing and that mothering role and that looking after and the caring type thing. So do you not think that like women would be happier within, and I guess I can't speak for all women, but like would be happier in that role that they are biologically designed for?
I don't know. Now society's so different though. Like, and I feel like we're now realising how many opportunities we have, and I don't know, I feel like it is very different now. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but like, I like going to work. Like, I like creating a career and like
Yeah.
I don't want the things that probably a stereotypical woman did want. So I do think it's changed, but then I'm just speaking for myself.
Yeah, it definitely has changed. I think that feminism is on the rise, and equality, obviously, very important. So I do see what you're saying.
Yeah,
and it's going to be different for everyone. Like,
but I think as well, like, yeah, I don't know if men. So there's obviously some men that just do still have a very, like, is it misogynistic? Is that the right word?
yeah, that's when they feel. Is that when they feel like they're just that they're right? Oh, where's my phone? Let's Google misogynistic quickly.
I think that's when you don't like women.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I don't know whether.
But then I think
Because I also think that some guys are like, you know, on dating apps and stuff, they're like, oh, I really want like a strong, independent woman. And then they get that and then they don't like it.
So misogynist is a person who dislikes, despises, or is strongly prejudiced against women.
Yeah, maybe that's not the right thing then.
Well, no, I think what were you saying in the context?
Well, maybe that they expect women to play a certain role.
And I think there are a lot of guys who do that, but in my opinion, the guys who expect women to play a specific role are the guys who are wanting to play a specific role themselves.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it is, if this whole world's broke into war, which, come on, let's face it, I don't want to go to war.
No.
I don't want to fight. I want the men to please do it for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person, and I would just die straight away. Like, so the way that men put themselves at risk. And like if we're walking,
but then they don't want to do it either, but they have to.
Exactly, and that's the thing. They don't want to, but they have to.
Yeah.
And they need to just shut up and get on with it. And that's why a lot of men's mental health really starts to develop and deteriorate.
Yeah.
Like if we're walking down the street, for example, on a late night, and someone like pops out and tries to attack me and the guy, I'm gonna be hiding behind my guy. So because of that, if my boyfriend is turning around to me and saying, can you make me a sandwich? I'm going to make you a sandwich because you keep me safe and I like it.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I do get that. But I also think like, I think I'm just really independent then, because I do feel like I can keep myself safe.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, not that I could beat someone up, or like if I'm getting mugged or anything, but I do sort of like rely on myself. I don't feel like I need a man to do that.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. To a degree, like, I feel like I can keep myself safe, but I think when it comes to, like, I guess violence or like, like, I don't know, like, there's certain things that my weaknesses, I guess, like, there's weaknesses that I have that maybe I don't know, that a guy would be able to manage better because of the way that they are programmed.
Yeah.
And biologically they are stronger. Like, maybe not than some women. There's always going to be an exception to the rule, but definitely than me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a weird one.
I do think it's very interesting. This is a topic that has actually been whirling around in my head recently, just because the way that I was before, I was very much like, no, guys are dickheads. Not that they're dickheads, but like I was very like, well, I probably was actually.
Probably went to see the right ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And my hatred and my bitterness about that was just being like washed over all the guys sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, if a guy is getting on and, you know, trying to fulfill his role as a man, then if I can help him do that by trying to fulfill my role as a female, then I would like to do that, because I've very much been in my masculine energy growing up, and actually switching to my female energy, it's not only is it very difficult because generally I've just felt unsafe to do that, but doing that I feel so free.
So what have you been doing then to make?
So
switching to your feminine, because I think I'm quite a masculine energy person, but it's weird because I like makeup and all that. I don't know if that's even like that's my feminine energy.
I think that's probably, it could be because creativeness, I think, is more of a feminine energy. But like I think like the actual act of doing makeup, I'm not too sure. But for me, the things that have been stepping into my female energy, being my male has been like protecting, providing, trying to like make money, like be successful in physicalities and materialistic things. And whereas when I'm trying to step into my female energy, I'm trying to create, I'm trying to nurture, I'm learning how to cook well.
Yeah, well, I think I've always had quite a balance then.
Yeah.
Because I've always had like, I love cooking, I love creating stuff. Like, I mean, I've always made videos and stuff. And like, but I have been, like growing up, I always wanted to be successful, and I've been like quite motivated and that sort of thing as well. So maybe I've always just had a bit of a balance. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes I just don't even know if I like the whole feminine and masculine energy, because I don't know how I feel about the whole so stereotypical, because like stereotypicalness of it. Because also like I do find that when, I don't know how you feel about it, but like when a guy is more like emotional and like isn't so set in his masculine energy and so stern, I prefer that. Like, yeah, so much more.
You know, this is really interesting because I keep seeing a lot of stuff about this cropping up. And so how would you feel if like, okay, say you've got 3 guys in front of you, all similar aesthetically, and you know, 2 of them you witness 2 of them crying. Who are you going to find more attractive out of all those 3?
It's a bit of a tricky one, because if you're literally just looking at them and they're crying, but I feel like I'd be more like drawn to them. Like I'd want to, I don't know, I like seeing emotion, because I like to know where I stand with people, and I like people that are open. Whereas if someone's, you know, so locked and closed and guarded and won't show any emotion, you can't get in. You can't develop a connection with them.
It's difficult, because I did see a comment saying about if you see a guy crying, then women won't find that attractive, and I was just like, no. Crying isn't weakness, but then
no, it's not.
On the other side of the scale, I think if you do see a guy overtly expressing that emotion, you as a woman might feel less like you're stronger than them, maybe, possibly. I mean, I'm going from a very unbiased point. I don't actually know what my views are on this situation yet. I'm still figuring it out. But
because I think it's just stereotype, isn't it? Because there's some women that just wants a man to be a man, and like they don't want a man who cries, and they want someone who's just gonna like be there for them, and like women are more emotional and all that sort of thing.
Because men and women have the same emotions. The difference is that guys are just taught from a very young age to bottle them up and not to talk about them, which I just think is horrific.
It's just toxic masculinity. I find it hard that men have to even deal with that, because it's just, they must be feeling so much and like not being able to let it out, and then it just creates so many more issues and mental health issues. But
then on the flip side to that as well, I reckon what guys have done is they've started to build relationships and bonds with their friends to be able to let out those emotions in what they probably deem as being a healthy manner.
Banter.
Maybe banter, but then, you know, I think it's deeper than that. Like, I think
I hope so.
It definitely is. Like, if you was to hang out with guys in like I guess a trusting environment, I think you would see them express real emotions. But I think a lot of guys, when it comes to doing that in front of girls, the script's flipped a little bit, and
because I think they need to be this other, you know, masculine person, which I don't know, it's so hard, because I don't think they do. But then I don't know, if I did just see a guy just blubbering in front of me, I don't know how do you feel?
This one needs more thought, I think. What do you guys think? Comment.
I don't really know much about it either. I'm just going off like literally what's coming to my head, but like I haven't thought much about it. But yeah, I do think like men being more emotional, like I don't think it's such a bad thing. Like also you don't have to be crying. Like even just like
expressing. Yeah, it's not like black and white, is it? There's a lot of grey area there.
Yeah, it doesn't have, like, it's on a spectrum, isn't it? Like, it doesn't, even just talking about, you know, if you had a shit day, talking about your shit day and like, but in a healthy way. Instead of taking it out on people.
Well, then I think what that one then comes into is communication, which is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, I really suck at it, so I can't really speak too much.
Do you?
I suck at communicating so bad. I think I just keep it all to myself and like.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
Are you?
I literally just let it out.
Oh, that's so good.
Well, sometimes, yeah, it depends what it is, I think, as well. Because sometimes, like, if it's just a conversation that I don't want to have, I will bottle it up. But it creates more of like a resentment, I think.
It does, 100%.
Like, and then it just makes me feel worse. So it's like, and then once you have the conversation, God, you just feel so much better.
Yeah.
So much good. Yeah,
it's so true. My thing's always been like the fear in actually speaking my truth and actually saying it and not feeling condemned or judged by that. Which is kind of why.
What, just in a relationship or?
No, not even in a, maybe in a relationship and in general life. I think it's just the kind of way that I've developed through my environment and conditions and circumstances. But yeah, working on that one.
Yeah. What? Well, how come you're like that then? Do you think?
I think just a lot of abusive relationships. Really.
Yeah.
Like you learn to be a certain way, because if you're not, then there's going to be ramifications from that. And I've not quite managed to get that muscle memory out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Timestamps a bit muddled up.
Yeah. I definitely have been, not in the best relationships either myself. And I feel like as well, like I was always in a position where like if I actually did say anything, you wouldn't know how it's going to be received. Yeah. So like you would not want to end up saying anything because of the impact it might have, or the situation it might have.
Or you're constantly trying to say what you think that they want to hear.
Yeah.
So like, oh, okay. So then that's what I found that I did in my life.
Yeah.
And even with my friends who actually really genuinely love me, because of my warped understanding of what love was, I then brought that into all my relationships, which is why self-awareness is just so blooming important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like in my current relationship, like I've actually learned to actually realise that communicating doesn't always have to be received badly, or like communicating can actually help.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, we are definitely good at communicating, which is great.
Hold this fork, because I need to pee, and I'm going to pause the camera.
How long have we been chatting for?
I don't know, but I don't really know how to transition this. Yes! Thank you so much for watching the podcast. Thank you so much for being on. It's been absolutely fabulous. If it's helped or you've liked it at all, please hit a like and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye. Bye.